All right, guys. So we got some more developing informazione in Iran. I'm gonna try and keep this newsworthy. The other four videos that I've been posting, I tried to get them in the algorithm, so then that way the word could get spread about it. And yeah, they basically, I guess, like censor or demonetize, whatever you want to call it, like all four videos. And they thought this was like too hardcore, dude. It's like too hardcore, bro. Can't do it, dude. Sorry, bro. So I was like, all right, whatever, man. Whatever, bro. I'm not even gonna fucking whatever. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Irfan Sultani's family say he's scheduled to be executed by the authorities.
Oh man, we're going off hardcore. Oh man.
He's 26, and the decision is apparently final. There's no appeal. We don't know the charges, but if the death sentence is carried out, it's believed it.
See, because this is what these, these people, these like, these liberal women just outside protesting all the time. That's what they don't understand. This is what an actual dictatorship, communism, whatever you want to call it, all the isms. This is what it looks like. Okay, that you don't get a say. There's no appeal. Okay, there's no lawyers. There's no trial. Okay, they say you die, you die.
Following Iran's brutal crackdown on anti-government dissent after more than 2 weeks of nationwide street protests. Human rights organizations are warning his case could signal the start of mass executions targeting demonstrators.
Today marks the beginning of a terrifying new phase in Iran. Under the cover of a 6-day internet blackout, the regime has officially started expedited mass executions. First victim, he's only 26 years old, and now he's getting hanged for protesting for his freedom. The official charge says he was waging war against God. His family was informed by phone that he would be sentenced to death. They begged for a chance
who's God? What God?
They were given 10 minutes, and after the meeting, they were told it would be their last. The world almost did not find out about this. Iran's internet
any sane person would know you cannot wage war against a God.
State media says it could last 2
the one
weeks.
true God.
And the regime isn't just silencing
the big
protests.
Jesus Christ is Father. Jesus Christ
Next, because
the Almighty Savior, Jesus Christ.
Executions are beginning. And
the Heavenly
will
Father
not be the last.
That's the real
Here's
God.
what we know about Irfan's case.
This young person is from the city of Karaj, around 40 kilometers or so from Tehran. He was apparently arrested at home, taken out from his home by unidentified, government officials. There are multiple parallel security and intelligence.
I think we could identify them if we really wanted to.
Organizations in Iran, they often do not necessarily identify themselves when they go to arrest people. He has been out of touch with his family, and he hasn't had access to a lawyer. The family were informed apparently a few days after arrest, and they have been able to see him only for 10 minutes. And they already have told the family that he's been sentenced to death on charges of fighting God, Muharabe, as it's called in Persian Arabic word coming from Sharia law, and it's the charge which always carries a death penalty in Iranian legal system. In recent days, prosecutor of the city of Tehran has announced that the government has appointed what they described as courageous and experienced judges to go through the cases of people arrested in the demonstrations quickly and with what they call revolutionary determination. So that sounds, summary trials and, kind of a lot of death sentences being issued in the incoming days.
According to Iran,
yeah, this is probably why they knocked out all the internet. It makes sense, like Donnie J, gave them a warning, a threat, and a promise, and so they won't get caught doing that very thing. They took out all the internet. And now we're hearing about the death sentencing.
spoke to a lawyer inside.
It's not alarming,
and it's important to clarify here: this lawyer is not.
Okay, poor choice of words. It is alarming, but you know what I'm saying. It's not surprising.
a lawyer who's representing Irfan, because Irfan has been denied access to legal counsel. In fact, there was no court hearing either. No charges, nothing resembling justice. He was arrested and then given a death sentence. His family was warned, if they speak to any media, other family members will be arrested too. They've been silenced through terror. And this is the template for what's coming. Because Irfan isn't alone. A few days ago, reports confirmed that Iran has arrested at least 2,300 people from these protests. That number is most definitely higher now. We cannot confirm this because of the blackout, but let me explain my reasoning. Few days ago, when we learned about the initial number, we also learned that around 2,000 people had been killed in the protest. Well, now we know that number of people killed has gone up from 2,000 to 12,000, and CBS reported yesterday that
What? How do you just jump from 2,000 to 10,000? Where did these 10,000 come from, dude? That's not even like an error or like a miscalculation. That's just like somebody like intentionally hiding stuff, which is what I've been saying. It's almost like I've been saying this.
As high as 20,000. So we can safely assume that by now they have arrested a lot more than 2,300 people. Now, here's what makes this even more terrifying. If they are willing to execute someone in 5 days, imagine what they are doing to thousands of others in custody. Iran already executes more people per capita than almost any other country in the world. Before these protests, they were killing around 1,000 people per year.
Oh man, this is just unfortunate. This is sad, man.
Number is about to explode. Well, just yesterday, President Trump was asked about these executions, and this was his response. Take a listen.
Hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow, so it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line, or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
Yep.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action if they do such a thing.
100%.
Very strong action.
And this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The
A
end game
biblical
is to win.
smackdown from God.
I like winning.
How do you define that?
I
in
like
Iran?
winning.
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out.
Al-Baghdadi.
Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat.
Gaddafi.
In a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out.
I mean, obviously, I know not Gaddafi. I just wanted to be cool and mention names.
Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, you know, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.
We'll see how that works out for them.
The US is watching, but watching isn't the same as acting. And that's where things get complicated. Here's President Trump talking about when he'll make a decision on Iran.
You have a message for the leaders currently of Iran.
Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem, and I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
Now, Iran's top security official actually responded to all this. Take a listen.
Mr. Trump has threatened Iran. What is your response to him?
They make these kind of remarks often. In my opinion, don't take it too seriously.
And in your opinion, will these events be contained? The riots that have taken place in the last few days?
Look, this presence of the people, it demonstrates that the Iranian nation is determined to America and Israel.
Here we go.
This is where things get even more complicated. There are several countries, Arab countries, that are actively trying to stop US from getting involved. Those countries include Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Qatar. They're all
Why am I like
pressuring
not
Washington
surprised?
to stay out. Now, this doesn't mean that they support the Ayatollah. Their argument is about stability and money. They're worried that the US strikes would destabilize the region and spike oil prices, which would hurt the global economy and, of course, the US economy. Here's why these concerns matter. Iran sits right on the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow choke point where 20% of world's oil passes through every single day. If that corridor gets disrupted,
it's kind of annoying because they are right, you know. Oh, sorry. Like they are right. They 20% of the world does actually go through there. Not that you needed me to confirm that for you, but yeah, it is a pretty tricky situation. We can't just necessarily bomb them and be done with it. I would say we would need kind of like a needle, like a scalpel, rather than a hammer right now.
Energy prices skyrocket worldwide. The Arab states that depend on that shipping lane don't want chaos in the neighborhood, even if they hate the neighbor. But here's an even bigger issue. Saudi Arabia has privately assured Tehran that they will not allow US aircrafts to use.
Hold on, chat. Sorry, chat. My eyes are like burning.
Saudi airspace for strikes. This matters more than their diplomatic argument. Last year, when US B-2 bombers destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities, they flew all the way from Missouri because regional access was limited. This time, it could be harder. The reason is US aircraft carriers. They are spread too thin. 2 of them are in the Western Hemisphere and 1 of them is in the Pacific. US has no aircraft carriers in the Middle East. That means if Saudi, Qatar, and Oman close up their airspace, American options shrink dramatically. Now only time will tell what's actually decided. Now, while the world debates intervention, what's actually happening inside Iran? Is the revolution still alive or has the regime crushed it? Well, the honest answer is we don't exactly know. And that's exactly what the Ayatollah wants. January 13th
that's why they shut off all the internet.
The 16th day of revolution. But unlike earlier days, almost no footage came out. There are 2 possible explanations for this. One, the regime has successfully crushed the protest, at least for now, and that's why streets are empty and the revolution is running out of steam. The second option is that the regime has successfully crushed the internet. Protesters are still fighting, but we cannot see it. They have been jamming Starlink signals.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's probably this is probably the latter.
Terminals and arresting anyone trying to get information out. We don't know which one is true, and that uncertainty is a weapon.
I would imagine it's probably the latter because you don't just silence whole nations so easily.
Claiming victory. They ran a headline saying Iran just won its 2nd war with Israel in 1 year. They're framing this as a military triumph. Protesters defeated, order restored, and regime triumphant. But here's what the Ayatollah doesn't want you to understand, and honestly, what most media will not explain. If you're the type who wants to actually understand what's happening, not just watch the headlines, then be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We break this down on a daily basis, because the regime's victory lap is missing something critical. The problems that started this revolution have not gone away. The economic crisis is still there. Inflation that's destroying people's saving, that's still there. And the prices are still climbing every single month. But the worst of all, the water crisis is still there. And this one is the hardest to fix. Iran's water shortage is not natural, it's man-made. Decades of mismanagement, dams built in wrong places, rivers drained for projects that benefited regime insiders, and now entire regions are running dry and there is no quick solution. The government can print money to delay the economic collapse for a few more months, but they cannot print water. They cannot make the rain fall, and they cannot undo decades of environmental destruction. This is why opposition voices are pushing back on the victory narrative. They're pointing out that the 1979 revolution, one that brought these mullahs to power, took nearly 400 days. It was not a sprint, it was a marathon, and we are only on day 16. Even politicians inside the Islamic Republic are nervous about this fact. Several lawmakers have warned that public anger could get worse unless the government actually addresses people's grievances.
Yeah, that's literally what I've been saying for like the last 4 videos, dude. This would all just go away, most likely. I don't know, I don't know. It would most likely go all away, and you would calm people down if you just listened to what people had to say and just did that thing. It's not that hard, dude.
Members of the regime are publicly saying this is not over. If we don't change course, it's going to explode again. But changing course would require fixing problems that the regime created itself, and they have shown no ability or willingness to do that. Now let's talk about what this crackdown has actually cost. A few days ago, confirmed fatalities were around 2,000 people. Since then, reports from CBS suggest that number has climbed to 12,000, possibly even 20,000. We cannot verify these figures because of the blackout, but even the low estimates are staggering. This is a massacre never seen before in Iranian history. CNN recently interviewed a doctor inside Iran. Face blurred, identity hidden for his safety. He was working on January 8th and January 9th, 2 of the bloodiest days in country's modern history.
Holy shit.
Take a look at this footage.
I opened the window briefly. The smell of gunpowder and tear gas was everywhere. Everything fell apart. At 8 p.m, the internet was cut. At 8:20, I got a call from the hospital. Doctor, come, you must come. When I arrived, I saw what we call a mass casualty situation. Every single one of the 4 operating rooms was full. I was there from 10 or 11 p.m. until the morning. I don't know how many surgeries I did, maybe 10 or 11.
This is one of the few videos to have surfaced from inside Iran's hospitals. It shows some of the injured.
Oh man.
But the doctor's testimony paints an even more
that's messed up, man.
picture.
From midnight Thursday onward, the type of injuries changed. The live rounds started. By Friday evening, all the beds were full. Most had pellet injuries and similar wounds.
Throughout these and previous protests, the regime's security forces raided hospitals and hunted down injured protesters and the medical staff treating them.
For what? These are literally people that can't even fight back. What a bunch of pricks.
Turning places of healing into scenes of horror.
There was so much fear. 3 patients contacted me through intermediaries. I was afraid to answer, wanting to make sure it wasn't security agents trying to trap me.
The true scale of the carnage is only just beginning to emerge. Once again, so many Iranians find themselves abandoned and alone.
Hold on, guys. Oh my god. Damn, Chad, my eyes like fucking red as hell.
in this nightmare.
The hope being pumped by external media is not what we feel inside. Inside Iran, it's a mix of terror, desperation, and a tiny flickering shred of hope.
Now to end it today, there is no ad, there is no goodbye. I just want to show you this powerful footage that someone on Twitter made supporting the Iranians who are fighting for their freedom.
That's why I'm not telling people to not tell you a like or comment or nothing like that, dude. I just want to get the message out. Yeah, people are sick of this shit. They never wanted this. They never wanted this regime. Fuck yes. Oh man, I'm so proud of them. Free the call of freedom.
One of the problems with making videos like these, where we show a lot of drones.
He literally says that and he puts a fucking ad right there at the end. Oh my god.
Hi, Mr. Tenant. Here is Mashhad City.
And this is the second time we were gonna watch that.
Please help to my people. Please come.
Just hold out that.
Iran, please help.
Iran is dangerously close to getting hit with a massive U.S. strike. And Trump's patience has officially run out after the regime's latest massacre.
Oh, 100%.
The U.S. virtual embassy in Iran is urgently warning Americans still inside the country to get out immediately by any means possible.
Yeah,
They're specifically
get the fuck
advising to
out
flee
now,
via land
dude.
borders into Armenia or Turkey, as the skies could soon be filled with missiles instead of passenger planes. And the numbers coming out of Iran right now should honestly scare you. Some reports claim that the nationwide death toll may have already crossed 12,000 people. But what's even more disturbing is that senior officials from the Islamic regime itself are now coming forward. A senior health ministry official, speaking anonymously, admitted that around 3,000 people have already been killed across the country. Another government
Only
official
3,000
backed that
people.
up, saying he personally saw an internal report with at least 3,000 dead, and warned the number is still climbing. Clearly, the Islamic regime has given its security forces a free hand to crush the uprising by any means necessary.
Oh,
Video
100%.
footage and eyewitness accounts show Revolutionary Guard units, Basish militias, and Faraja police firing indiscriminately into crowds with assault rifles, shotguns loaded with metal pellets, and rooftop snipers.
What a bunch of pieces of crap. Dude, this is messed up, man. This is messed up.
On top of this, nearly 11,000 people have been detained in just the first 2 weeks. Children as young as 14 have been arrested, and even doctors and medics are targeted just to stop them from treating the injured. Hundreds more have simply vanished, swallowed up by
Why?
the prison system with no records.
Like, why are you
no
stopping
charges,
them from
and no
treating the injured,
explanations
man?
given to their
Like, what
families.
benefit does that
Even worse,
serve
the
you?
regime just sentenced protesters to death. The first one scheduled to hang is a 26-year-old named Irfan Soltani. His execution date is set for January 14th. And guess what? Soltani was denied access to a lawyer, a fair trial, or any opportunity to appeal, marking what appears to be the first in a potential wave of rapid executions. They're even talking about public hangings, just to scare everyone else off the streets. Hundreds, if not thousands, will be hanged to death for simply joining the protests and demanding freedom and democracy.
Don't let this discourage you guys over there. You guys need to keep fighting. Take your country back.
Instead, they're now begging for Trump to step in and
They
stop
need to either give you liberty or give you death.
Insane. This is the same country
as harsh
that
as
spent
it
decades
sounds.
chanting death to America, and now
Like,
they're
not that I
literally
want them
begging
to, you
Trump
know,
for help.
kill
Khamenei
you,
has
but
to know he's screwed, because this is exactly the red line Trump warned him about crossing.
definitely don't want you guys to continue
The
suffering.
protesters, I just hope, just God bless them. I just hope the protesters in Iran are going to be safe, because that's a very dangerous place right now. And again, I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting, because we'll start shooting too.
For the first few days,
Yeah.
security forces held back somewhat, but as protests kept getting bigger, Khamenei decided he'd had enough. On January 9th, he gave a speech calling protesters trash and made it crystal clear he wanted the crackdown ramped up.
Everyone should know the Islamic Republic has come to power with blood of several 100,000 honorable humans. The Islamic Republic will not back down in the face of those who are saboteurs.
Oh yeah, saboteurs. The only saboteur here is you freaking idiot.
Now, it's not even a question of if the US is going to strike, it's just when and how. And if you want to be the first to know when that happens, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, it means a lot to us. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump is scheduled to be briefed on Tuesday, January 13th, on options to respond to the protests in Iran. According to those familiar with the planning, options include ramping up support for opposition communications, deploying cyber weapons to sabotage Iranian military and infrastructure sites, tightening sanctions even further, and of course, conducting direct U.S. military strikes. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Joint Chiefs Chair General Dan King are expected to attend the meeting. And it's not just Trump. Even U.S. lawmakers are calling for intervention. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham urged the president to take out the Islamic regime. Take a listen.
I don't care if they extract him, but I want him to be considered. He's the modern day Hitler. He's a religious Nazi. He's a horrible person. It's time for him to go. The people want him to go. Trump has done what Reagan did. Reagan went to the Berlin Wall and said, tear this wall down. Donald Trump kicked the people over the Ayatollah. Donald Trump says the best way to make Iran great again is for the protesters to win and the regime to come down. How do you do that? Whatever action we're going to take, Mr. President, needs to embolden the protesters and scare the hell out of the regime. If I were you, Mr. President, I would kill the leadership that are killing the people. You've got to end this.
Realistically speaking, the U.S. isn't quite ready for a full-scale strike on Iran, at least not yet. According to the New York Times, the Pentagon asked Trump for extra time to build up enough forces and carefully plan a strike that would actually cripple the Iranian regime. And that makes sense, because aircraft carriers and their strike groups are America's ultimate military spearhead. Right now, though, the U.S. Navy simply doesn't have one in position. Of its 11 active carriers, 7 are stuck stateside in maintenance or refueling. 1 is tied up in the Caribbean as part of the U.S. operations against Venezuela. The remaining 3 are deployed in the Far East, 2 near Japan and 1 elsewhere in Southeast Asia. So far, there have been no reports of any of them heading towards the Middle East. And even if that were to happen, it would take many days before they arrived. For any real action to happen, the U.S. would first need to move more firepower into place. Not just to hit targets
that is
in
true
Iran,
too. I don't think we have enough troopers or equipment over there.
Officials, memos are being sent to agencies seeking their input on specific responses to the Iran situation ahead of Trump's big meeting. Still, the absence of a carrier doesn't mean the U.S. is powerless. Even without one offshore, American
I was about to say,
is
that
already
doesn't mean we
within
need it,
striking
though.
distance, ready to unleash devastating hits at a moment's notice. America's bases literally circle Iran. Al-Udeid in Qatar and Al-Dhafra in the UAE, both packed with strike aircraft. Incirlik in Turkey, where the U.S. even stores tactical nuclear weapons. Plus strategic airfields in Kuwait, Bahrain, Iraq, and Jordan. At any given time, dozens of American fighter jets and bombers sit fully armed and fueled at these bases, waiting for just one signal from Washington. On top of all this, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu has been holding emergency talks with his top military commanders. Israel has a well-known interest in Iran's nuclear and missile programs, and right now, their Air Force is on high alert. U.S. and Israeli planners are actively discussing how they'll coordinate if Iran's regime collapses or tries something desperate. In short, Netanyahu is in the loop on whatever might be coming. What's really worrying for both you and I is the sudden appearance of America's doomsday plane. In early January of 2026, plane spotters in California and Washington spotted a Boeing E-4B Nightwatch, aka
Holy
the
shit.
National Airborne Operations Center. There are only 4 of these in the entire world, and they're built to withstand electromagnetic pulses, nuclear blasts, and thermal radiation. Their primary purpose is to ensure the continuity of government command and control in worst-case scenarios, functioning as a mobile Pentagon or White House if ground-based centers are destroyed or compromised. Public sightings of the E-4B at major civilian airports are extremely rare, especially within the US. Yet, on January 9th, one of these planes departed its home base in Nebraska and landed at Los Angeles International Airport. It was the first time in 51 years of the E-4B program that one of the planes was seen at LAX. One of these planes departed its home base in Nebraska. Sightings of the E-4B primary purpose is to ensure the continuity of government command and control in worst-case scenarios, functioning as a mobile Pentagon or White House if ground-based centers are destroyed or compromised. Public sightings of the E-4B at major civilian airports are extremely rare, especially within the US. Yet, on January 9th, one of these planes departed its home base in Nebraska and landed at Los Angeles International Airport. It was the first time in 51 years of the E-4B program that one of the planes was seen at LAX. Many analysts believe this is a signal that Washington is at the highest state of readiness for a major confrontation, one that could even involve the threat of nuclear escalation. The Pentagon says the flight was routine, claiming that the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, was aboard as part of a routine Arsenal of Freedom tour to promote the defense industry. But then why use the top-secret E-4B for a domestic publicity tour instead of a normal VIP transport? In fact, an E-4B was also airborne on June 18th, 2025, right after President Trump first threatened Iran with military action during earlier tensions. At that time, the Air Force insisted it was unrelated.
Hold on,
but
chat. Let me go see if my sandwich is ready. Feels like a Scooby-Doo snack. Pardon.
Now with the plane active again, on the heels of Trump's explicit warnings to Tehran, it's not hard to see a connection. So, if Trump actually gives the green light, what's a US strike on Iran gonna look like? Based on leaked discussions and past examples, experts predict swift and surgical decapitation strikes aimed to cripple Tehran's ability to continue the massacre on its own people. According to the New York Times, Trump has been briefed on targeted strikes on select sites in Tehran, including non-military infrastructure linked to the regime's internal security apparatus. This could mean hitting key regime command centers. For instance, strikes might also focus on IRGC bases that house units directly involved in killing protesters, prisons or detention centers notorious for torture, and the possibility of homes or offices of high-ranking officials directing the violence.
Those people.
Most of these strikes would likely involve precision-guided weapons to avoid civilian casualties, especially since thousands of protesters are already at the gates of the regime's bases all across Iran. But the only reason there hasn't already been a strike is that Washington knows things could spiral out of control fast. Officials within Trump's circle have warned that going in too big with military...
Now, I would imagine if he is going to do this, he's going to do it the right way. Because he knows if he messes up even in the slightest, it's game over, dude. They're going to use this as like an excuse for everything.
Action could actually hurt the protesters, giving Khamenei exactly what he wants. A chance to rally Iranians around nationalism and paint the protesters as American puppets. And of course, Khamenei has already been shouting non-stop that this uprising is secretly orchestrated by Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi and the US government. Take a listen.
The important point is that a bunch of incited enemy mercenaries stand behind the Bazaris chanting slogans against Islam, against Iran, and against the Islamic Republic. This is what's important. The rioters should be put in their place. We will not give in to the enemy. We trust the Lord and we trust that the public is with us. Inshallah,
in their place,
we will bring the enemy down.
You mean in their
knees.
Graves?
Even the Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian,
that's the only place I see you putting them, my guy.
US and Israel have sent terrorists into the country to spread violence and chaos.
They trained both groups, both domestically and abroad. They brought terrorists into the country from outside. They're setting mosques in Rasht. They came and set markets ablaze. They treated mosques this way in a society with these people's culture. Would Muslims accept such people in their society? Then they killed people with rifles. Some were killed with heavy weapons, with machine guns. They set some people on fire. Some were beheaded. Some people were buried alive. When you hear this news, these aren't our people. They don't belong to this country.
This really tells you everything. Despite having thousands of deaths on its hands, Iran's president is more furious that people are burning down mosques. Unfortunately for him, over 350 mosques have already gone up in flames. In return, the regime has stooped to disgusting new lows.
He is not their
They're
people.
literally airing footage of
He's not a real Iranian,
TV,
dude.
pushing the lie that these are victims of some US-Israeli conspiracy, rather than protesters killed by their own security forces.
There might have been some among them looking for a fight with the police saying they weren't. They wanted to seize the base and might have even used weapons. But most of these people are just ordinary folks, and the families are just regular families.
In fact, listen to what Iran's top cop, the chief of police, Ahmad Reza Radan, just said about the protests. He promised to track down every single protester one by one until none are left.
We vow to come after the rioters, down to the very last one. We will come after every single person who spreads this.
You think you've got the bullets for that, my guy?
I bet the president won't say a word about how Radan's forces are literally shooting kids in the streets and killing random civilians, even in areas where protests have been totally peaceful. Now, the other reason why the US and Israel haven't already launched a strike is because Iran's leaders have been throwing around serious threats, trying to scare Washington off. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bakir Kalibaf, a former IRGC commander, has warned that if America strikes Iran, then they target all US bases and warships across the Middle East.
Yeah, is that why you're trying to
attack Iran?
Oh man,
both occupy.
There's no way that's the guy that's talking doo-doo. Are you really threatening the United States and you're the one trying to, like, you know, split two and go to France? You know? get what is it called? Refugee status and like, you know, get asylum, or you're seeking asylum in France. Oh man, I hate this guy. He's such a coward. Like, you're the one instigating the fire, because he knows why he's doing this. He's purposely instigating it, so it's the people, the civilians that he thinks is gonna get, you know, messed up. Like, no, dude, we see you. We see you trying to, you know, instigate the fight, so in that way it gets to Iran. And then meanwhile, you know, you're over here trying to escape to France and shit. Like, bro, you're not slick.
Territories and all.
I think you're like Emperor Palpatine or some shit. Like,
and
bro,
ships in the
fuck
region
out.
will become our legitimate targets. With your open admission of planning military aggression against Iran, we won't limit our legitimate defense to just reacting after you act. We'll respond based on concrete threat indicators.
Oh, yeah?
I must warn you and your regional allies, don't miscalculate. Regret won't help you afterward. Allahu Akbar.
Another senior Iranian also declared that even a sign of a threat could trigger Iran to hit U.S. troops in the region. Now, you got to admit, for a country that wouldn't stand a chance against the United States, Iran sure loves punching above its weight. Still, Iran could easily fire hundreds, maybe thousands of missiles randomly, exactly like we saw during the 12-day war with Israel, when ballistic missiles ended up hitting Israeli cities. But at the same time, that conflict also showed just how worthless Iran's air defenses really were. Israel managed to claim air superiority within minutes, and now Iran is far more vulnerable today than before. Their radar systems are full of gaps, its missile defenses are compromised, and its military resources are stretched paper thin thanks to nationwide protests. Iranian forces, along with their proxies in Lebanon and Iraq, are probably ready to respond by launching missiles everywhere, unleashing drone strikes, and even attacking tankers in the Gulf. That kind of reckless escalation would be pure suicide. But if the Ayatollah genuinely believes his regime is about to collapse, he might just be crazy enough to spark a full-blown war in the Middle East. For now, though, Iran seems to have reached...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what these officials are doing. Why do you think they're trying... They keep, you know, threatening the U.S., you know, making all these threats and stuff, you know, trying to, like, you know, further instigate stuff, because they know that they're about to lose control. So instead of, you know, just whatever, just, you know, losing control and what, you know, whatever, they get defeated. No, they want to take out everybody too. Like, bro.
...reached out to the United States to negotiate. Speaking to reporters on January 12th, Trump said Iranian leaders called, and now they're trying to set up a meeting.
Iran called to negotiate. Yesterday, the leaders of Iran called, they want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. Negotiate what? We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up, but we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting.
Well, guess what? That lifeline is officially gone. On January 13th, Trump went on Truth Social and publicly urged Iranians to keep protesting, to keep taking over their state institutions, and to start collecting the names of killers and abusers.
Yeah,
He's also promised that America would make them pay. And just to be clear, he canceled every meeting planned with Iranian officials, saying talks are off until the senseless killing stops. But with each passing hour, the protests show no sign of stopping despite the bloodbath. Even now, more than 2 weeks into the unrest, millions are still pouring into the streets across at least 27 of Iran's 31 provinces. For a short while, Musk's Starlink provided a rare communication lifeline that allowed protesters to send images and videos to the outside world. But now even that lifeline is being severed. According to Iran Wire, Starlink's connection was initially disrupted by about 30%, but within hours, outages skyrocketed to over 80%. Despite reports that tens of thousands of Starlink units are operating inside Iran, the blackout has also
and like the military police are trying to seize all of the Starlink
the Iranian
dishes.
regime activated a military-grade kill switch to jam Starlink satellites.
Yeah.
According to the Iran Wire, this technology is highly sophisticated.
You know what's crazy? This literally sounds like a debriefing for like a Call of Duty mission where you have to go to like another nation, you know, disable all the jamming, you know, that's preventing the civilians from getting this and that, and you have to like infiltrate the base to fucking, you know, topple a dictator regime and all this nonsense. Like, dude, this literally sounds like a Call of Duty mission.
And likely supplied to the Islamic regime by Russia or China. After the 12-day war with Israel and the U.S. back in June of 2025, Iran passed an anti-espionage law banning Starlink and other unauthorized satellite services. Personal use
yeah,
can
that's
lead
what I was
to
talking
prison
about.
sentences of up to 2 years, while links to espionage may even attract the death penalty. Despite this ban, recent estimates cited by the Associated Press suggest that between 40,000 and 50,000 people in Iran use Starlink. But now even those terminals are useless, unless Elon somehow finds a way around Iran's kill switch. But even if Elon does somehow manage that, it might already be too late for thousands of Iranians, because the Islamic regime is already hunting down Starlink users house by house, confiscating terminals, and maybe even disappearing the users. Either way, we're now just hours away from the public execution of Irfan Soltani, with hundreds more potentially lined up behind him. If the regime really goes through with this, the international backlash would be massive. After 47 years of brutal rule, the Islamic Republic could finally collapse under the combined pressure of an unstoppable uprising at home and military force from outside.
YouTube usually demonetizes or restricts our video.
Hopefully, hopefully this is for the best, and at the end of this, these people actually end up being free, man. It's just not fair. These people just want their freedom. They're not even asking for anything crazy, like what citizens over here in the United States be doing, trying to fight the federal government and then expecting for them to just let them kill them. Like, what? And besides that, though, sorry guys. I really genuinely do hope that, they win, man. They win, they've been winning, they've been losing, well, not losing, but, they've been getting defeated, and they keep getting suppressed, and they've been trying to fight these guys back for years, and, they want out, man. They've been wanting out, they never wanted this. I pray to the big JC that, Iran wins, man, that they get back their home. They take back their home from these traitors, these people that probably aren't even their people, But yeah, I don't wanna take too much from this. From the message, Hopefully this gets across, and stay safe out there, guys. Hopefully the next news that I bring you is something good. I'll catch you guys later.